Good morning, ICG crew. This is Secret Time Lady 12, and this is the video tour of the Philosophical Fortress. I've got more stuff to cover than I anticipated. I'll try and make this quick. Um, so the Philosophical Fortress that you see in front of you is not actually the real one. This is the Philosophical Fortress that got created because I can't count. So we'll cover that in a minute. First, however, I want to take you on a slight tangent, and that is that I've added an Easter egg. Here are my Easter egg signs. And the Easter egg came about actually because of the miscounted Philosophical Fortress, because I built the whole thing and then realized I'd built it wrong, had to do it all over again. But I thought, I've got it, it's built, it's painted, I'm just going to call it quote unquote extra content, and will pretend as if I meant to do that all along. But I got to thinking about it, about extra content, and rewatched the various contest videos. By the way, thank you for doing the contest. I have massively enjoyed myself. But a lot of the bases, scored kind of middle of the road. Fun factor, fun factors of 5-ish to 7-ish ranges. And you guys have put so much work into your contest, and I've had a fantastic time. Your videos have been hilarious, and I really wanted the contest to be as fun for you to do it as it was for me to watch it. Sorry to interrupt you, Secret Time Lady 12 of the past. This is Secret Time Lady 12 of the present, breaking in with special coverage of an important feature that you forgot to mention. See this? These are frames. See that? That is a ladder. Ladder. When I was making this base, I was so busy trying to beat the deadline for filming my entry that I forgot to make a legitimate way inside. By the time that I realized it, the entry had already been submitted, and it was too late. The only way into this base, into either of the bases, is to nerd pole. I tried to illustrate that by placing some frames and some signs. Just like this, they are on both bases. These frames will need to be removed before Horde Night. They're there in case you need to film them. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the nerd polling, but please do pull them before kicking off the festivities for the evening. There are signs attached to the frames. They should self-destruct when the frames are pulled. If they somehow survive, please kill them. If the frames are left in place, I am completely confident the build will fail. Thank you! I am now returning you to your regularly scheduled programming. So that's where the Easter egg came from. I've put in a visitor center. The visitor center is not a Horde location. It's just a place where the clue to the Easter egg is located. So the idea is, you would go to the visitor center. I have the coordinates there, and you would then go to the Easter egg. But I also want to add here that this is completely optional. This is not anything that you have to do if you don't want to. I put it in, hoping you'd enjoy it. But if you don't want to mess with it, that's fine. I've got everything, way out to the edge of the map. It shouldn't bother anything. It is 100% optional. Whatever you want to do with it is fine. If you're interested in it, it's out there. Okay, so Philosophical Fortress. This is the odd Philosophical Fortress. Again, because I can't count. But because I'm putting in here as quote-unquote extra content, you can see we've got the little drop down. I've got extra spikes on this version. Let's go down the little thing here. And again, you can see that, you know, I miscounted and didn't catch it till I put in the hatches. These are the single hatches. At the bottom of the stairs, I've got storage boxes. I've tried to paint them. I actually used a different paint rather than blending them into the floor. I was worried that you wouldn't find them. Here are the slots. You can throw explosives and stuff down here. They're actually designed for that, so that you can just, you know, use explosives and Molotovs, what have you, on the horde and watch them blow up. Let's go up here. Now, the difference between the odd and the even gyro, come on. This is gyro, by the way. The difference between the odd and the even philosophical fortresses. One, obviously, this one was miscounted. But the other thing is that I've added to this philosophical fortress, I've added ladders. And you can see them here. I've added ladders and ramps for zombies and dogs so that they'll loop. You can see below the fortress here we have our hidden plinth. And then
we are not alone.
Thank you. You are not supposed to be bothering me during the tour video. We've got our extra supports here. I'll be talking about that in a minute. So the zombies, actually, you know what? Let's talk about all of that on the real philosophical fortress. How is there a hole here? I went through and patched carefully all of the holes so that I had a lovely, neat... Okay. So let's go to the real philosophical fortress, which does not have these ladders. And the real philosophical fortress is due east. Oh, I should list my map location, which is, what, 1664 east and 2468 south? I'll put that in Discord also. So the real philosophical fortress, as seen on YouTube, is here across the road. And this is actually what I want to talk about more than just the tangent stuff. Alright, so here's the philosophical fortress. And just quickly, I've given it its own sign so that you can tell them apart. This is the even philosophical fortress, i.e. correctly built. And I know that someone is, to start off with, I know that someone, Gyro, come on. I know that someone is going to come up with the comment that this is not a cheap date, and this is not a cheap date. All of these blocks are painted. The guide to the painted blocks is if the zombies can touch it or damage it in any way, it is made of steel. If they cannot touch it or damage it in any way, it is made of concrete. Which is a build expensive on materials, but I put in here the materials that I recovered from the pit. I actually dug this, and this isn't even all of them. I deliberately put this above an iron node and then dug it out by hand so that I could, you know, show the materials. So yeah, it's an expensive date, but in essence, you're going Dutch. Okay, let's talk about philosophy. I've been so looking forward to this. So these are the ramps. So the zombies will come up here, and this is where the philosophical fortress takes its name. So here, and you can see these have got lanterns attached to them. I call these rails. They are upside down wedge tips. And you may recall that in Alpha, 1819, wedge tips were the kings of the hill because the zombies didn't see them as a path. And then in Alpha 20, the Fun Pimps patched that out, right? So they patched in that the zombies would see these as a path. And if they patch it in my philosophy, it is a baked potato. Now this extra support here, we've got extra support on 4 sides. You can see it right here. These are narrow wedge tips. And in Alpha 19, the narrow wedge tips were not available. You could only get them on the creative menu. They have since added them to our new, 1200 block menu, and in Alpha 20, the zombies don't see this as a path, and that was the exact exploit that the Fun Pimps patched out in Alpha 20, but here they've patched it in Alpha 20 where they don't see it as a path. So I kind of liked the taking advantage of the, oh, the zombies do see it as a path, right next to taking advantage of, oh, the zombies don't see it as a path, one block used for support and the other block used for rails. And that's kind of where the yin yang thing came from, is because I'm trying to take advantage of both block characteristics. And these are real short. This is designed to do one thing, and that is dump the zombies into the pit. You can see here we've got an extra block right here. You guys referred this to as a scratching post in the other video. I had been referring to them as bumpers. But this is an extra block. This is a block for them to beat on when they encounter, the obstacle that's going to push them off and into the pit. If we lose these blocks, we don't care. Our next set here is pyramids. And I'm actually really surprised. I'm kind of sad to put out the video almost, because rails to pyramids are stupidly effective. It's unbelievable. You won't believe it. And they'll run up against these pyramids and they will push themselves off into the pit. Speaking of which, let's talk about the pit. So we have this pit, right? We have our hidden plinth here. Now this pit is basically 22 blocks deep. The maximum range of cop spit is 21 blocks. That said, the maximum range of most explosives, you're talking like 29, 30 blocks. So if they dig themselves down about 6 blocks down, you're going to be out of explosive range. That's thing one. Thing two is these are emergency support. See these dots here? Can you see these? These dots here? These are actually floating plates, which I know would be cheesy if they were floating, but they're not, right? Because we've got the support of the column. So what these are is these are emergency supports. I'm actually a little worried. Notice that, as in YouTube, we don't have any ladders. There's no way out of this pit. Once they come into this pit and drop down, they're done. All right? And the idea here is that they'll bunch under this grate. You can see it up there because they're always targeting you, right? So they bunch under the grate, and then they don't take too much away from the corners. I'm a little worried about the corners. I mean, these blocks are not, hugely, they're 500 points each, so they're not very sturdy. At the same time, there's a lot of them. So I'm hoping that even though it'll be a day 700 horde, they're not going to be able to take out all of these corners. If they were to take out a corner, at that point, the floating blocks come into effect and would continue to provide support to the fortress above. I don't want this to collapse. I'm so nervous that this is going to collapse. All right, let's go up here and go. And you can see here, by the way, see I've got the, still got iron and this is nitrates. We've got lead right here. And so, I pulled a bunch of stuff out of this pit. So this fortress basically pays for itself. All right, let's open up this drop down. By the way, notice that I've got spikes here. One of the things that I tried to do was I tried to not employ like electrical traps, because and blade traps and stuff like that, and they're fun, but you have to maintain them, you have to repair them, and the idea of this base, it's designed to be an AFK base, and I've only been able to test it on single player. But if I stand here on the grates in single player on day 770 with 64 zombies and warrior difficulty, and I just stand here with the doors closed, I can literally AFK the day 770 horde. The idea of these spikes, obviously, when vultures and buzzards come down, they will impale themselves. Um, if you do want to, shoot at the zombies, you can actually do it. You've got pretty good line of sight. I will say be careful opening these hatches. This gap is large enough for a spider to jump through and get into the base, so that can be an actual thing. Also, I did not make these ramps very long. The idea was not for necessarily to shoot at them as they ran along the rails. The idea was for them to dump themselves into the pit and then like drop Molotovs and stuff on their heads. Okay, let's close that. And then finally, I've got storage boxes down at the bottom here. And I've got stuff in them. I've got repair materials. I've got brass ammo. I've got, Molotovs. I don't know if this base is duel-proofed, but I do know that Duel loves to throw Molotovs, and this base is designed to let him do that. Let me think. Is there anything else? We have lanterns for lighting. Oh, be advised, these walls, they don't look like it. They are triple thick, and it's all steel. Because a 5-person day 770 horde, I felt like the walls needed to be triple wrapped. The final thing is that these blocks, these frame blocks, you can wire through these and you can shoot through these. So if you do get a vulture or a buzzard that's bothering you, that's not impaling itself on the spikes, or if the spikes are gone, you can just shoot directly through these blocks and don't have to go up and down the ladder. I believe that is it. Thank you for watching my tour video. Again, I've really had just an enormous time with the contest. Thank you for putting it on. I've had so much fun. I hope you'll enjoy my Philosophical Fortress when you do decide to film it. Again, thank you for your consideration. Have a great day.